How dare you come here to disgrace my mistress? You, this useless barren woman.
Rachel's head slammed against the mall floor as her husband David's fist connected with her jaw again. Shoppers at Accra Mall screamed as his mistress Vanessa laughed, filming the brutal assault. "You embarrassed me, questioning me in public," David roared, kicking Rachel's ribs. Blood pooled on the marble as security finally pulled him off. He grabbed Vanessa's hand and they ran, leaving Rachel broken and gasping. "If you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My colleague said I wouldn't even reach 10,000 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show them that these tales matter and comment where you are watching from." Rachel was 35. A successful bank manager who'd finally climbed from poverty after years of struggle. David was 38, the unemployed husband she'd supported for 12 years while he looked for the right opportunity. Vanessa was 23, a restaurant hostess David had been cheating with for 8 months since getting a sudden management job Rachel had helped him secure through her connections. Rachel had suspected the affair after finding hotel receipts and perfume that wasn't hers. Today, she'd seen them together at the mall, holding hands, shopping with money she'd earned. When she confronted David calmly, asking to talk privately, he'd exploded with rage. The beating was vicious. Calculated, meant to humiliate her in front of hundreds of witnesses who recorded every brutal second on their phones. As Rachel lay broken on the floor, a stranger named James knelt beside her, calling ambulance while others just filmed. David and Vanessa escaped through the parking lot, laughing about the crazy wife who'd gotten what she deserved. They had no idea that Rachel would survive, that the mall footage would go viral, and that in 6 months, the woman they tried to destroy would return with a revenge plan that would cost them everything they'd stolen from her life. At the hospital, doctors revealed Rachel had 3 broken ribs, fractured jaw, severe concussion, and internal bleeding requiring emergency surgery. She'd nearly died on that mall floor while her husband escaped with his mistress. James, the stranger who'd helped her, stayed at the hospital, having witnessed everything and felt compelled to ensure justice. "I recorded the whole thing before they ran," he told police. Every punch, every kick, every laugh. Rachel woke 3 days later to find her younger sister Esther beside her bed, crying. David cleaned out your joint account. Took 250,000 Sadies. He moved his things from your house. He's living with that girl now, posting photos on social media like he's proud. The betrayal cut deeper than physical pain. Rachel had paid for everything, their rent, his food, his clothes, his car, while he contributed nothing but complaints and excuses. Police said David was in hiding with Vanessa, had fled Accra to avoid arrest. "We're looking for him, but he knows we're coming." Domestic violence with intent to harm, theft, abandonment of marital responsibilities. "When we find him, he's going to prison." But Rachel wanted more than prison. She wanted him to feel the humiliation, the poverty, the helplessness she'd endured supporting his lazy entitled self for 12 years. Esther revealed more painful truths. "Rachel, everyone knew he was cheating. Your friend saw him with her months ago but didn't want to hurt you. Your colleagues warned you he was using you. Even Mama said you deserved better, but you defended him, said he just needed time to find himself." Rachel closed her eyes, realizing she'd been the only fool who believed David loved her, when really he just loved her money and her willingness to be used. James visited daily, bringing flowers and encouragement, never asking for anything. "Why are you helping me?" Rachel asked weakly. James smiled sadly. "My sister was killed by her husband 3 years ago. I didn't help her when she needed it. I won't make that mistake again." His kindness planted a seed of hope in Rachel's broken heart, a reminder that not all men were monsters, and that surviving was just the first step towards something better. 8 years earlier, Rachel worked 3 jobs to put David through a business certification program he'd begged for, promising it would change their lives. She sold her car to pay his fees, took night shifts to cover rent, went hungry so he could eat well and focus on studies. David graduated with honors, kissed her passionately, promised he'd take care of her forever now that he was educated and employable, but David never looked for work seriously. Every job Rachel's connections offered him, he'd reject as beneath his qualifications. He'd sleep until noon while Rachel left at 6 a.m. for the bank. He'd complain her cooking wasn't good enough, her house wasn't clean enough, she wasn't attractive enough anymore because stress and exhaustion had aged her. Rachel absorbed the criticism, believing if she just tried harder, loved him better, he'd appreciate her sacrifice. Friends started avoiding Rachel because David embarrassed them. At her work events, He'd show up in cheap clothes she bought him and complain loudly about the food or the people. "Your friends think they're better than us," he'd say, though really he meant better than him. Rachel's promotions at the bank came despite him, not because of him, yet he took credit when people asked, saying he'd supported her career. The emotional abuse escalated when Rachel got her manager position. David accused her of sleeping with her boss to get promoted. He'd check her phone obsessively, accuse her of affairs with male colleagues, then disappear for days without explanation. When Rachel suggested counseling, David laughed. "You're the problem, not me. You're controlling and paranoid." The gaslighting worked because Rachel was exhausted from carrying them both. Then Rachel used her connections to get David a management job at a friend's restaurant chain. Finally, he'd contribute financially, she thought. Finally, their marriage would balance. But within weeks, David met Vanessa, a hostess half his age who didn't know he was married. He saw an opportunity for a younger woman who didn't know his failures, who hadn't watched him waste a decade being lazy and entitled. So he took it, and when Rachel discovered the betrayal, he beat her unconscious rather than face accountability for using her all those years. Rachel was released from hospital after 2 weeks with instructions for physical therapy and trauma counseling. She'd lost 15 pounds, couldn't eat solid food yet because of her broken jaw, and flinched at sudden movements. Esther moved in to help, horrified by how thoroughly David had destroyed her sister physically and financially. The joint account was empty, their savings gone. Even Rachel's jewelry that her late mother had left her, stolen and pawned by David before he ran. James helped Rachel get a restraining order against David and file for divorce based on abandonment, infidelity, and domestic violence. Her lawyer, a fierce woman named Ajoa, was furious hearing Rachel's story. "He used you for 12 years like an ATM machine, then beat you when you called him out. We're taking everything from him legally, and I'm pursuing criminal charges that'll put him away for years when they catch him." But Rachel was barely surviving. Medical bills from the hospitalization, missed work during recovery, therapy costs, legal fees, replacing stolen items, all while David hid with Vanessa spending Rachel's money on luxury he never earned. Social media showed them at expensive hotels, fancy restaurants, wearing designer clothes Rachel's salary had bought. Vanessa posted captions like, "Finally found a real man," while David commented hearts, having zero shame about the wife he'd left broken on a mall floor. Rachel's bank demoted her after the viral mall video. "You're creating a hostile work environment with your personal drama," her boss said coldly, cutting her salary by 40%. Colleagues who'd once respected her now whispered and stared. Some blamed her for staying with an obvious user. Others said she'd provoked David by confronting him publicly. The victim blaming was crushing, making Rachel question if somehow she deserved this hell for loving the wrong man. Then James made an offer that would change everything. "My security firm needs someone to manage finances and operations. You're overqualified, but I need someone I trust, and you need a fresh start. Same salary as you made before the demotion, flexible hours while you heal, and complete confidentiality. Think about it." Rachel looked at this stranger who'd shown her more kindness in 2 weeks than her husband had in 12 years, and for the first time since the mall, she saw a path forward that didn't involve destruction, but rebuilding. For months after the mall beating, Rachel started working for James's security company. The job was perfect, challenging enough to distract her from trauma, flexible enough to accommodate therapy appointments, and paid well enough to rebuild her savings. James was a respectful boss who never crossed professional lines, but their friendship deepened through shared meals and conversations where Rachel slowly opened up about her marriage's reality. Rachel learned David and Vanessa were still in Takoradi, living off Rachel's stolen money while David dodged arrest warrants. Vanessa had quit her hostess job, was now a full-time influencer posting about her entrepreneur boyfriend who'd left his toxic ex-wife to be with his soulmate. The lies were infuriating, but Rachel's lawyer advised patience. "Let them spend your money. Let them feel safe. When we catch them, the charges will be worse because they're actively evading justice." Through therapy, Rachel unpacked 12 years of emotional abuse and financial exploitation she'd normalized as supporting her husband. Her therapist, Dr. Mensa, was blunt. "You weren't a wife, you were his mother and ATM. He never loved you. He loved your willingness to carry him while he did nothing. That's not marriage, that's parasitic exploitation." The truth hurt but freed Rachel to stop blaming herself and start seeing David as the manipulative user he'd always been. Rachel's divorce was progressing. David's lawyer tried arguing he deserved half of everything Rachel owned since they'd been married 12 years. Ajoa destroyed that claim with bank records showing Rachel had paid for everything, David had contributed nothing, and he'd stolen from her before fleeing. The judge ordered David to return all stolen money plus damages, enforceable when he was apprehended. It was a legal victory even if David remained in hiding. Then Rachel discovered something that changed her entire approach to revenge. James's security company had contracts with hotels, banks, and businesses across Ghana, including in Takoradi. If you wanted to find someone, James said carefully, my team could locate them within 48 hours. And if you wanted them to face consequences beyond legal ones, well, I know people who specialize in making life very uncomfortable for abusers. But that's your call, Rachel. Justice or revenge? You get to choose. Rachel looked at her boss and new friend, and for the first time in months, she smiled with something that wasn't pain. If this story has you hooked, smash that subscribe button. What do you think Rachel should do next? Comment below and share with someone who loves a good revenge story. Rachel chose both justice and revenge. James's team located David and Vanessa within a day, living in a rented beachfront apartment David couldn't afford, throwing parties and posting lifestyle content built on Rachel's stolen money. They're completely comfortable, no idea anyone's watching, James reported. Rachel studied photos of her ex-husband looking happy, healthy, and utterly unashamed, and felt her rage crystallize into calculated coldness. Step 1. Rachel had James's tech team hack Vanessa's social media and plant evidence that her luxury lifestyle was funded by stolen money, fraud, and evading criminal charges. Within days, Vanessa's followers turned on her, calling her a scammer and criminal accessory. Her influencer sponsorships dropped her. Her follower count plummeted. The girl who'd laughed while David beat Rachel was now crying online about being cyberbullied, completely oblivious that her victim was orchestrating her public downfall. Step 2. Rachel contacted every business where David had submitted his CV over the years, jobs he'd rejected as beneath him. She sent them the viral mall video, police reports, and evidence of theft and abuse, ensuring David's name would never get legitimate employment in Ghana again. His reputation was systematically destroyed, every door closed before he even knew they'd been open, his arrogance ensuring he'd never understand why opportunities dried up. Step 3 was more personal. Rachel used her banking connections to freeze David's access to any accounts he'd opened with her stolen money. She reported his car, bought with her money, as stolen property. She had police inform David's family about the warrant, theft, and assault charges, destroying his lies about why he'd left Rachel. Everywhere David turned, his comfort was being stripped away by an invisible enemy he didn't yet know was the wife he'd thought he'd defeated. Then came the trap. Through a fake social media account, someone offered David a business opportunity, meeting in Accra with a wealthy investor interested in his expertise. David, desperately needing money after his accounts froze, took the bait. He and Vanessa drove 5 hours to Accra, dressed in their last expensive clothes, completely unaware that Rachel, James, police, and news cameras were waiting at that address. The hunter was about to become the hunted. The business meeting was at a hotel conference room. When David and Vanessa entered, expecting an investor, they found Rachel sitting calmly at a table with Ajoa, James, 3 police officers, and reporters. David's face went white. Vanessa tried running but police blocked exits. Rachel stood, her healed body and designer suit a stark contrast to the broken woman they'd left bleeding 6 months ago. Hello, David. Miss me? David tried his usual manipulation. Rachel, baby. I can explain. I was confused, I made mistakes, but I still love you. We can work this out. Rachel's laugh was cold. You beat me unconscious on a mall floor, stole my money, and ran away with your mistress. The only thing we're working out is your prison sentence. Police read charges: aggravated assault, theft of marital assets, fraud, evading arrest, and conspiracy with Vanessa who'd filmed the attack for entertainment. Vanessa broke immediately, crying that David had told her Rachel was his crazy ex-girlfriend, that she hadn't known about the marriage or theft. Police showed her evidence she'd helped David spend stolen money and posted about it online. You're an accessory to theft and fraud, miss. You knew where the money came from. Vanessa turned on David instantly. He told me his wife was rich and wouldn't miss it. He said she owed him for years of supporting her career. I didn't know it was stolen. David's lawyer tried arguing mental breakdown and provocation, but Ajoa destroyed him with the mall footage showing premeditated, calculated violence. Your client didn't snap. He beat his wife who'd supported him for 12 years because she caught him cheating with money she'd earned. Then he robbed her and fled. That's not breakdown, that's criminality. The judge ordered David held without bail, trial set for 2 months, facing minimum 10 years for assault alone. But Rachel wasn't done. As police led David away in handcuffs, she whispered so only he could hear, "I supported you for 12 years while you did nothing. I gave you everything while you gave me abuse. Now you'll spend the next decade in prison, and when you get out, you'll have nothing. No wife, no money, no reputation. Just the memory of the woman you tried to break who came back and destroyed you. Sleep well, David." His scream of rage echoed through the hotel as reality finally hit him. The trial was swift and brutal. Rachel testified about 12 years of financial exploitation, emotional abuse, and final physical assault that nearly killed her. She presented bank records showing she'd paid for everything, David had contributed nothing, and he'd stolen 250,000 cedis before fleeing. Medical records showed the extent of her injuries: fractured skull, broken ribs, jaw, internal bleeding. Mall footage showed David's calculated violence while Vanessa filmed, laughing. David's defense crumbled when his own family testified against him. His mother admitted he'd always been lazy and entitled, that Rachel was too good for him. His sister revealed he'd bragged about using the stupid woman for money while looking for something better. His friends, threatened with perjury, admitted David had planned to leave Rachel once he'd saved enough of her money, that Vanessa was just his exit strategy from a wife he'd bled dry. Vanessa took a plea deal, 2 years for accessory to theft and fraud in exchange for testimony against David. On the stand, she admitted David had told her about his plan to steal Rachel's savings, that the mall beating had been his idea to teach her a lesson about disrespect, that she'd filmed it thinking it would be funny content. Her testimony destroyed any remaining sympathy for David, showing the assault wasn't provocation but premeditated abuse of a wife he'd parasitically exploited for over a decade. The jury took 1 hour to convict David on all charges: aggravated assault, theft, fraud, abandonment. The judge, a woman who'd watched the mall footage with visible disgust, sentenced him to 15 years for assault, 5 for theft, running concurrently. "Mr. David, you used your wife for 12 years like an ATM machine while contributing nothing. When she achieved success despite you, you brutalized her and robbed her. You represent the worst of entitled men who exploit good women." 15 years. Rachel watched David collapse crying, begging for mercy he'd never shown her. She felt no satisfaction, just tired relief. Vanessa would serve 2 years. David would serve 15. By the time he was free, Rachel would be 50, successful, healed, and completely indifferent to the man who tried to destroy her but only destroyed himself. As she left the courthouse with James and Esther, reporters asked if she felt vindicated. "I feel free," she said simply. "That's better than vindication." 1 year after David's conviction, Rachel had rebuilt her life completely. She was now co-owner of James's expanded security company, their professional partnership having blossomed into romantic love built on mutual respect and genuine equality. They'd bought a house together, were planning marriage, and for the first time in her life, Rachel understood what partnership actually meant: 2 people contributing equally, supporting each other truly, building together rather than one person carrying everything. David was miserable in prison. Rachel knew because he'd written her dozens of letters begging forgiveness, claiming he'd changed, asking her to drop charges and help him appeal. She returned every letter unopened, her healing requiring complete separation from the man who traumatized her. Her therapist Dr. Mensa congratulated her. "You've broken the trauma bond. You see him clearly now, as the abuser he always was. That's real recovery." Vanessa had been released after 18 months, her influencer career destroyed, her reputation ruined, living with her parents and working retail. She tried apologizing to Rachel through mutual acquaintances, but Rachel declined contact. "Some people don't deserve your forgiveness," James said. "She chose to help him hurt you. Let her live with those consequences." Rachel agreed, understanding that forgiveness was optional, not required for healing. Rachel's story had become news across Ghana, inspiring other women to leave exploitative marriages and demand better. She'd started a foundation called Second Chance, helping domestic violence survivors with legal aid, therapy funds, and job placement. Her first client was a woman whose husband had beaten her and stolen her money, just like David. Helping her reminded Rachel why surviving had been worth it, so she could help others survive too. Then Rachel received news that shifted everything. David had been stabbed in prison during a fight, was in critical condition, might not survive. His family called begging Rachel to visit, to show mercy, to help somehow. Rachel looked at James, at her healed face, at her thriving life, and felt absolutely nothing for the man dying who'd tried to kill her. "Let me tell you what mercy looks like," she told David's mother. "I'm alive. He's alive. That's all the mercy anyone gets." David survived the stabbing but was paralyzed from the waist down, facing the rest of his sentence in a wheelchair. Rachel heard the news and felt only pity for the man who destroyed himself through entitlement and cruelty. She'd won completely: thriving career, loving partner, healed body, peaceful mind. David had lost everything: freedom, health, dignity, future. The revenge she'd planned had executed perfectly, but the real victory was that she no longer needed revenge at all. 2 years after the trial, Rachel married James in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by people who actually loved her. David's family wasn't invited. Vanessa, who'd been stalking Rachel's social media from fake accounts, finally gave up when she realized Rachel had completely moved on. The woman David had tried to humiliate on that mall floor was now happier than he'd ever allowed her to be, married to a man who treated her like a partner, not an ATM. Rachel visited David once, 3 years into his sentence, accompanied by police. He was broken, wheelchair-bound, aged beyond his years. "Why did you come?" he asked bitterly. Rachel looked at the shell of a man who'd once beaten her unconscious. "To show you I survived. You tried to destroy me for asking questions about your cheating. Instead, you destroyed yourself. I'm thriving. You're in prison, paralyzed. That's what happens when you abuse people who loved you." "I'm sorry," David whispered, but Rachel was already leaving. "I don't need your apology. I just needed you to know that I won. My success, my happiness, my peace, all the things you tried to steal, I still have. You have nothing but years in prison and a body that's broken like you tried to break me. We're done, David, forever." She walked out, James waiting by the car, and never looked back at her past again. 5 years later, Rachel's foundation had helped over 500 women escape abusive marriages. Her security company was the largest in Ghana. She and James had 2 beautiful children. David was still in prison, would be for another 8 years, his parole denied twice for bad behavior. Vanessa had moved abroad, still working retail, still trying to rebuild a reputation Rachel's revenge had permanently destroyed. The story ended where it began, a mall floor. But this time, Rachel stood tall, victorious, free. The woman who'd been beaten had risen, and the man who tried to bury her had only buried himself. The end.